Okay, so we're diving into something really interesting today. All the buzz around that new anime Kaiju Nar 8.
Yeah.
And, you know, we've all seen
Yeah.
those takes online. They're pretty
Oh,
enthusiastic.
yeah, for sure.
And we want to figure out, like, what really is making this so instantly captivating? What's really grabbing people?
Yeah.
And we want to go past just those surface reactions and really look deep down into, the core,
Right.
the character stuff and what's happening to the story that's sparking all those big conversations.
Yeah, definitely.
So we're going to look at that initial excitement and really pinpoint what about these characters and these early plot points are getting people so hyped.
Totally. And I think like right off the bat, the thing that jumps out from all this early reaction stuff is just pure excitement. Like when you see people using words like banger and insane, something big is happening. And I think at its core, Kaiju Nar 8, it throws us into this world where there's this constant threat from these massive destructive beings, these kaiju, basically giant monsters that are threatening humanity. Right, right.
And it's something we've seen before.
Yeah.
But I think what's interesting here is that, the buzz is indicating that Kaiju Nate is like offering a new take on this.
Yeah, so let's dive into the protagonist Kafka.
Yes.
The reactions to his transformation, they're just off the charts.
Yes.
It's not just that he becomes a kaiju.
Right.
It's the implications of that change that are electrifying people.
Yeah.
So what's the big deal? What's the hook here?
I think what's truly fascinating is, and this is what the reactions keep coming back to, is that there's this duality.
Yeah.
So we see this monstrous physical change, right? Something that's inherently terrifying.
Yeah.
But the idea is that he somehow retains his human consciousness,
Right.
his human mind.
Yeah.
And so it creates this immediate conflict internally,
Yes.
which then plays out against the external threat that he now represents to everybody.
Exactly. And people are really picking up on his struggle to control this power.
Yeah.
That he suddenly it's not a seamless, power fantasy
Right, yeah.
fulfillment. It's not just like, oh, now I'm awesome.
Yeah, he's battling, he's learning, he's navigating, and that's what makes him relatable.
Yeah, exactly.
Even though he's this monster. And speaking of power, the sheer level that he attains is just, people are pointing to scenes where he's punching kaiju, sending them flying.
Right.
Like that's a whole other level of power that's almost super heroic.
Right. It's definitely recalibrating, the power dynamic in a way, because the leap in capability is huge.
Right.
And it kind of makes you think like, okay, what does it really mean to be strong in this world?
Yeah.
Is it just raw power or is it something else?
Right. And it's not just strength either. It's the reflexes, the reactions that are highlighted.
Yes, absolutely.
Where he's like so fast, so much faster than any human should be.
Yeah, he's like a living weapon now, like way beyond human limits.
And of course, this puts him in direct opposition to the organization that is trying to eradicate beings like him.
Yeah, of course, because you've got the Kaiju Defense Force.
Right, the Kaiju Defense Force.
Which everyone seems to be saying is like the super formidable, unwavering line of defense against the Kaiju.
Right, but it's not just a standard military, is it?
No, not at all. I think the reactions give this impression that they're extremely selective.
Right.
With these stringent protocols.
Yeah.
That really underscore how seriously they take this threat.
Right.
It seems like only the most skilled and capable individuals are allowed into their ranks.
And that makes Kafka's initial position so interesting.
Yeah.
Because he wasn't part of this elite.
No, he was literally cleaning up the mess afterward.
What an origin story.
I know, right? Talk about irony.
Yeah.
And that's what makes it so powerful. It's that classic underdog narrative that's resonating with everyone. He's gone from the fringes, dealing with the aftermath, to suddenly having this potential to be one of the most powerful beings on the planet.
Yeah, it's a huge shift.
Yeah, absolutely.
In status and capability.
Yeah. His whole role in the world is transformed.
Exactly. Okay, so it's not just Kafka, though.
No.
There are some key supporting characters that are getting a lot of attention, too.
Yeah, definitely.
Let's start with Kikoru Shinomiya.
Okay.
She's being shown as this incredibly skilled prodigy, always ready for action with her axe.
Yeah.
What makes her stand out?
Well, beyond the obvious combat skills and that confident demeanor she has, I think what's interesting about Kikoru is that there's this underlying drive.
Okay.
So her father holds the highest position in the Defense Force.
Right.
He's the strongest commander.
Yeah.
And it creates this dynamic where it feels like she's not just naturally gifted,
Right.
but she's also incredibly determined to prove herself.
Yeah, to live up to that legacy.
Exactly, to measure up to that legacy.
And then there's Hoshina,
Yeah.
the the excitement around him is palpable.
Oh, yeah.
Especially his skill with the sword.
He's unreal.
He's like on another level.
Yeah, he's like the peak of human skill taken to this crazy degree.
It's almost as if he can dispatch these giant creatures with ease.
Exactly. And what I find interesting is that a lot of people are pointing out, initially, he just saw Kafka as another kaiju.
Right.
But then when he witnesses Kafka's intelligence, there's this hesitation, almost a flicker of doubt.
Yeah, he's suspicious.
Yeah, he's too observant
Right.
to just dismiss what he saw.
Yeah, and he seems like he operates on instinct.
Right.
And just really good observation.
Absolutely.
Okay, so Kafka is not alone in all of this, right? He's not navigating this new reality by himself.
No, definitely not.
The reactions keep mentioning Rino Ichikawa.
Right. His comrade.
Yeah. What's the significance of Rino?
Well, Rino is really critical to the whole thing.
Okay.
The fact that he seems to have sensed something different about Kafka very early on.
Yeah.
And then he makes this choice to support him rather than expose him.
Yeah.
That says a lot about Reno's character, especially considering the risk that he's taking.
Yeah, he could be putting himself in huge danger.
Huge danger.
Yeah.
And I think it really speaks to that loyalty, and it really grounds the emotional core of the story.
Okay, so we've got this incredibly compelling premise.
Yes.
These multifaceted characters.
Definitely.
And it seems like it's all coming together around these themes of identity and secrecy.
Absolutely. Kafka's main conflict is this constant balancing act of trying to maintain his human identity while existing in this kaiju form.
Right.
And the danger can't be overstated.
Yeah.
The Defense Force, their purpose is to get rid of kaiju.
Right.
If his true nature is discovered, it's over.
Yeah, it's fatal.
It's fatal.
And yet, even with this huge threat hanging over him, he's still driven by this desire to protect others.
Yes.
And this ties back to that promise he made with Reno.
Exactly.
And that's what makes him so captivating.
Right. He's fighting this internal struggle.
Yeah.
While also facing this external threat.
Right. And he's putting himself on the line for others.
Exactly. It all comes together to create this narrative that's just bursting with potential.
Yeah.
The characters are so well developed. You know, each one has their own motivations. They feel like real people.
Right.
And the anime itself, the adaptation, looks incredible. The action sequences.
Yeah.
The visual.
People are hyped for what's to come.
Oh, yeah.
So let's really boil it down to what's exciting everyone.
Okay.
It's this idea of a human turning into the very thing he's supposed to be fighting.
Right.
This unexpected twist.
Yeah. And then you've got this amazing cast of characters who all have their own depth and their own motivations.
Right. And this narrative that's just so tense and high stakes.
It's a recipe for success.
Yeah. And the reactions really show that it's the visuals and that human element.
You know, conflict.
Yeah, of Kafka's struggle that are really hitting home.
And it really makes you think, like, what does this new take on the monster fighting genre tell us about how we see threats?
Right.
What does it even mean to be human when your physical form is so different from your inner identity?
Right.
And given how strict the Kaiju Defense Force is,
how
long can he keep this up?
Yeah.
How long can he keep this double life going?
Right.
It's setting us up for some huge conflicts and some really tough moral choices.
Yeah, as the story unfolds.
Absolutely. And I think this deep dive, as exciting as it is really just scratching the surface of what Kaiju No 8 might explore.
Absolutely.
I think there's a lot more to come.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting to see where it goes.